And we appear to be live. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the stream. Yes, it's been a long while since we've streamed. Thought we'd do something a little different today. So recently I took a little break from Final Fantasy XIV. Several weeks back, patch 5.5 came out, which means more main story quest. So today we're just going to run through that. I don't think it's terribly long, but I know there's a dungeon involved, there's lots of chatting and everything, so let's get on with it. Right, so at the end of the last main story quest, these strange towers, that you can see behind me, appeared in the world, and as far as I'm aware, this MSQ is going to investigate them. Well, let's get on with it. Right, so I've got to remember how I do this. That. Hello! Okay then, so it's all about these towers, like I say. Now, the first part of this MSQ I have already done, but it was all running around and talking and cutscenes, so what we're going to do is go and view those cutscenes again, so that we can just go from start to finish. There is a cutscene or two before this which I can't replay, but basically it's a case of meeting at the Rising Stones, and Thancred comes back without Urianger, and he's basically informed that Urianger has already gone to the meeting that's going to take place to discuss what to do about the towers. So you meet up with everyone else, and then you all go to the meeting itself. Minus Y'shtola, which upsets me. But we'll pick it up now at the actual meeting and the following cutscene from it, and then we'll go and meet Alphanode and continue the quest line from there. Now I've got to remember what I'm actually doing. This one, post scenario, so onto the breach. So I'll just read it in case I've got anything wrong. Yep, so Urianger is going to speak with the Alliance leaders in Alamago, where the meeting is to be convened and discuss how to proceed. During your reunion, you are joined by Arenvald. There's a bit of an exchange with Alphanode outside. And then we all go inside and the meeting takes place, which is what we're going to do now. So, onward we go.
Ere we begin, I would like to offer my gratitude to Masters Thancred and Urianger. 'Tis no small feat to infiltrate the Imperial capital and live to tell the tale, much less in times of civil war. Thanks to them, we may plot our course in full knowledge of how the winds blow in Garlemald.
Full glad are we to have been of service. But verily, such dangers as we did encounter pale into insignificance next to those faced by our comrades. An Ascian, armed with the might of Bahamut, bent on bringing about the final days.
Theatrix. He sought only to make a show of the power at the Teleforoi's disposal. But since then we have seen no sign of this Fandaniel or his worm. And while we've done what we can to bolster our defenses, there's no telling where he might strike next.
Whenever and wherever it may be, we must use the intervening time to learn more of our enemy. 'Twas with this in mind that we dispatched scouts to investigate the towers.
Our advance party took longer than expected to return. And when they did, they tried to kill us. Luckily, I'd seen that sort of thing before, and we were able to restrain them before they did any harm. Then it was just a matter of letting the Porksies do their work.
Are you saying they were tempered?
Once they'd come back to their senses, they told us everything they could. It seems that just as they were getting close to the tower, they heard an ear-splitting roar, and that was the last thing they remembered. But what worries me most is what they were saying right before they attacked. Glory be to Garlemald.
The Tempered have heretofore ever been thralls to primal entities. Yet these hapless souls were compelled to accept a nation as the object of their devotion. This calleth into question all that we know of the condition.
Would that the unsettling news ended there. Alas, there is more. Following the earlier reports of missing Amalja, we have learnt that other beast tribes have suffered similar losses. And we now have reason to believe that the abductions are connected to the appearance of the towers. Our scouts sighted black-garbed figures leading shackled Ixal in the direction of the tower in Dravania. The Temple Knights were able to intercept them before they could reach their destination, liberating the Ixal and apprehending their captors.
So the Empire is the common thread.
With the support of Xenos, it seems likely that Fandaniel has rallied a faction of the splintered Garlean army to the banner of the Telophoroi.
Lord Hien reached the same conclusion when I shared our findings with Doma. The plan had been to march on Garlemald from the east and west in order to force a peace treaty. But the situation has changed. Dealing with the threat of the towers must come first. Given the nature of the enemy and the proven risk of tempering, I could think of few suitable candidates to aid in this task. But I am confident in my choice.
What?
Resistant to primal influence as they are, they can investigate the towers without fear of being turned.
We are glad to put our gifts to use, Commander.
Gifted or not, going behind enemy lines remains a perilous undertaking. But we must know more if we're to strike back at our foe. I'm counting on you.
If it would give us the upper hand, I'd do it 100 times over. We won't let you down.
That concludes the briefing. You two, make ready and join your escort.
Are you certain about this, Arenvold?
I am. Come on, let's talk outside.
So you know, I've already gone through all the formalities at the Rising Stones. Made sure to inform Jamolver and Vmar at Ralga's Reach as well.
Arenvold, I admire your enthusiasm, but this is far more dangerous than anything you have done before.
I know the risks. And I also know what's in store if we don't stop Fandaniel from carrying out his plan. With this power of mine, I can make a difference. If I stood idly by, I would regret it for the rest of my life.
And you, Fudola? Is this what you want?
What are you asking me for? It's not like I have any say in the matter.
Don't pretend. We both know Commander Eldin gave you a chance to refuse. And you didn't.
So the Empire's finished, is it? But that's what they're all saying. That the great and glorious Garlemald slit its own throat. And now, from out of its twitching carcass crawls the Telophoroi with bloody Xenos at its head! I fought for Garlemald. Killed for Garlemald. What was I part of? I need to know. Whatever it is, I need to know.
Very well. If your hearts are set on this, I shall not stand in your way.
If you've finished with your touching display of camaraderie, I have a question. Which tower are you planning to investigate, exactly?
Well, the one in Girabani is said to be tightly guarded. It's patrol after patrol out there, apparently. We'd be spotted before we got anywhere near it. Which is why we've set our sights on the one in Pagalthan instead. There shouldn't be anything like as many Imperials to worry about down there.
Even so, I doubt the local Amalja will look kindly on it if they catch you sneaking around in their territory.
Fordola and I had a chance to learn the lie of the land in our previous forays there. We might still find trouble, but at least we won't lose our way. Well, we'd best not keep them waiting any longer.
Mayhap when all of this is over, we could take another trip to Loxeld. I would have you know I've become a rather capable swimmer since our last visit.
Ha! I'll believe that when I see it. Though, to be fair, getting into deep water does seem to be a scion's lot in life. Take care, Ray. It means a lot, you know. You coming with me.
I'll still owe you for saving my skin, don't I? Can't return the favour if I'm not there.
I dare say you'll get your chance before long. That Fandaniel sounds like a tricky customer. Too much for the likes of me, anyway. But we both know I'd just be another soldier if it weren't for my gift. And I need to be a damn sight more than that given what's coming. I realise I can't hold a candle to a hero like the Warrior of Light, or Alphino, for that matter. He might look like he's 12, but he's seen more action than most people see in a lifetime. No, the fact is I'm nothing like them, and maybe I never will be. But I'll be damned if I don't try. They're counting on me. On us. So let's give it our all.
He does not want for conviction, that much is certain. So let us have faith in him. Him and Fordola both. While they see to the towers, I would attend to another task. Chasing down this lunar Bahamut.
Ah, bloody thing. Can you hear me? It's Tataru. I'm happy to say we've managed to find Estinian. And I'm sorry to say he went running off again the moment we told him about Bahamut. But he did mutter something about heading to Ishgard, so if you're quick, you might still be able to catch him.
Even if we set out this instant, he may already have left by the time we arrive. Have her send the Bonanza to Ishgard. It may prove useful should we need to give chase.
Gladly. I'll see to it as soon as Kryl and I get back to the Rising Stones. Good luck.
While you go off on your dragoon hunt, Urianger and I will return to headquarters. We have much to tell the others.
I wish you every success in your search for our elusive friend. May we all meet again ere long.
And that's where we're picking up. Righty-ho then. Oh, that's wrong. We're going to deal with the tower, we're going to look into this lunar Bahamut. Cool. Justinian was bound for Ishgard. Whatever it is that brings him home, we must hope it will keep him there long enough for us to find him. Come, there is no time to lose. May the teleporting festival begin. That's all MSQ is. All present? Good. Let us split up and search for Estinian. Since we're relatively new to this place, Graha and I will look around the open spaces, the squares and markets and whatnot. You and Miozi can delve into the nooks and crannies. Very well. Let us reconvene at the airship landing later, with or without Estinian. Good luck. Bye, nerds. I think I shall begin at this Skysteel manufactory, so perhaps you could try the congregation. Can't speak. There. Not going to be good if I'm reading a lot of this. Lucia may well have heard the news of our friend's return. Oh, it's been a while since I've been here. I don't remember. Good evening to you, Warrior of Light. Lord Emeric sent word that you would be attending the meeting in Alamago, so I gather you have not come in search of him. To what then do we owe the pleasure of your visit? I see. No, we are not aware Sir Astinian has returned to Ishgard, but as I expect you remember, he is wont to come and go as he pleases. Mayhap he came seeking an audience with Lord Ermic, only to find him absent? In any event, I'm afraid I cannot help you. Perhaps one of his companions has fared better. Why is there always people that don't know where he is? You stupid man, stay still so I can find you. So, Aha! Nerds detected.
No sign of him. Not that I've ever met him before, but the way Alphino goes on about him, I'm fairly sure I could pick him out in a crowd.
Speaking of which, it does seem awfully quiet. If the erstwhile Azure Dragoon had returned to Ishgard, would it not be a source of general excitement?
First the Scion's Coinkeeper, and now you. I'm beginning to think these meetings are more than mere coincidence. Not that I'm complaining. It's been too long.
Too long?
You look an ilm taller and twice as rugged. It suits you, Alphino. Quieter, though. Have you been giving him lessons on how to be the strong, silent type?
I am not Alphino! If the two of you are such firm friends, perhaps you should remember what he looks like. And what do you mean, rugged? Ugh! Had my brother mentioned what an oaf you are, I'd never have bothered looking for you in the first place.
Estinian Wormblood, the Azure Dragoon. He who fought and felled the dread worm Nidhogg at the Warrior of Light's side. To think the day would come when I should see this living legend with my own eyes.
Would someone mind explaining what is going on?
Is everything all right? I thought I heard Alize shouting. Estinian! It's been too long. No, it's quite understandable. That was hardly the first time we've been confused for one another. Nor, I suspect, will it be the last.
Well, I, for one, will not be making that mistake again. What I will say, for the second time today, is that you've grown. Inside and out. I can tell.
One can't remain a spoiled little lordling forever, you know.
At least someone's having a good time. You know, when we were growing up, Alphino would never befriend other boys because he couldn't stand the thought of not being in charge. But maybe that's changed. He seems just as happy around Estinian as he does Arenvald.
Good luck to them. It hasn't been easy being his sister, I can tell you that.
No rest for the righteous, eh? Speaking of which, I was just on my way to borrow an airship to take me to Azizlar.
Azizlar? How could I forget? The dragon with whom Bahamut shared the deepest of bonds.
Aye, Tiamat, his mate. Even now she remains imprisoned on Azizlar, though her remorse binds her faster than any shackle.
I see. As the one who first summoned Bahamut, you believe she may be able to shine some light on his latest incarnation.
Might I suggest that we make the journey to Azizlar together? I'm not sure if Tataru mentioned this, but we Scions have an airship of our own now.
I see no reason why not. Assuming your sister can bear the thought of sharing a deck with me.
Be my guest. But confuse me with Alphino again and I'll throw you overboard. Ugh! I don't know who he thinks he is, but he's nothing like Alphino painted him to be.
I will admit, he is not exactly as I imagined him either. Based on what I had read of the man, I think I was expecting someone a little less blunt?
Oh. Watching Graha's squeal over him. Oh well. Oh, I missed that. Oh well. I had not set foot in the Delta Quadrant, but I have studied the relevant records, which is not to say I wouldn't appreciate a first-hand account of your dealings with her. Well then, Miyazi is the person to ask. As far as I know, he's the only one to have met Tiamat face to face. Yeah, why not? Ah yes, you were friend with her father. I too have met Tiamat. After the Dragon Song War came to a close, I came here to speak with her, a worm who had fought her own war against man in another age. I wished to know if she yet harboured thoughts of vengeance, and asked as much. She said no. My hatred for your kind was extinguished long ago. But the guilt still feels for resurrecting Bahamut burns on undimmed. It torments her, even now. I see. And your original reason for coming here was out of concern that Tiamat has been forced to summon Bahamut. Nidhogg is part of me. I feel his emotions as my own. And I know that he would not allow his sister to be made a tool of evil. In his absence, it falls to me to watch over her. Ooh, food! Excuse me. Then he is ready to lead the way to Tiamat. Tiamat awaits. This way! Where the hell are we going?
Edkin Enthin. Wafesk les non in.
It's plain she knows naught of recent events. Perhaps you should enlighten her.
I've seen it with my own eyes. Captives of a lost empire, neither alive nor dead, existing only to preserve Bahamut's corporeal form.
Your children's pain means nothing to them. They laugh at your kind suffering. But tears will not right this wrong, nor will lamentation see the perpetrators punished.
Snosk anta in Dramon.
Behavior befitting a great worm. We came here to ask mighty Tiamat of the First Brood, consort of Bahamut, mother of the dragons of Mericidia, what she intends to do about the crimes committed against her children.
Santalan infan antosk. Gaush lent an. Ale o esk an in. Ale kum ak in.
You too were exposed to his influence. That you are yet in possession of your own will is testament to the indomitable strength of your soul. But were you to meet with Bahamut again, you fear you might succumb.
Es snoska dramon kin. Nestra in. Illes I. Nesh an. Ang ala. Unmik. Nalstra ul an. Antal an. Smon. Tahi an.
On the matter of Bahamut's influence, at least, I believe we can be of some assistance. If you're afraid of being enthralled, don't be. We have a cure. And while we've never tried it on one such as you, its basic principles are universal.
There is no future for those bound to the past. That you committed a terrible sin, I do not dispute. But if you feel remorse, you may yet make amends. We offer you that chance. Take it, or you will forever remain a prisoner, not of these cruel shackles, but of your own guilt.
Sahaan, Seth Sol, King Bahamut, An Suron, Na An Inles, Snaloles Dish An, Na Ala An Ul An Sin An, Stan In.
Ooh. No, not you. Nerd boy. While poxes have shown to be effective in curing the tempered, Tiamat must be considered a special case. She is far, far larger and immeasurably more powerful than any subject treated thus far. Were we to remove her restraints only to find that the process had failed, we would be hard-pressed to contain her. Then, before we go ahead, we should learn as much as we can about the exact nature of her condition. Do you suppose we can find that information here? Why yes, we can. We can indeed. Elegans kept detailed records on all of their notable captives, and I know exactly where to look. We shall leave that to you then. In the meantime, the rest of us can turn our thoughts to the removal of those shackles. I know Alphanode and Meowsy are here well enough, but not you. Are you certain those things... Ugh, can't... Ugh. Stop reading things without doing it. Ugh. Are you certain you're ready to see this through? Rest assured, Sir Estinian, that I am both ready and willing to give my all for the sake of this star, though that is not my only reason for wanting to set Tiamat free. While I do not claim to know all of her sorrows, I too once found myself in a prison of despair, and I well understand how hard it can be to dare to dream of escape. It took the encouragement of braver souls than I am to make me take the first step towards a brighter future, and now I would help Tiamat do the same. I gather you are not as young as you look. Mayhap when our work here is done, we could trade tales over a pot of Tataru's famous tea. And be indebted to her for the leaves and hot water? I think not. I see. Returning swiftly to the task at hand then. I believe the nodes governing Tiamat's restraints are located in the sector known as the Flagship. Ah yes, we are familiar with it. The Etherochemical Research Facility in particular. Or you may wish to take this, a spirit vessel containing a small amount of my blood. Just handing out your blood willingly now. Okay then. which you just happen to be carrying around with you. I suppose that could seem rather odd. No, well, yeah. To explain, Rambros, Urianger and I are researching the use of spirit vessels in the transference not only of memories, but the traits of certain bloodlines. And so I keep one at the ready, should the opportunity to test our theories arise. As for its use to you, you may recall that during our previous visit, the nodes here granted access to restricted functions, having identified me as being of royal blood. And armed with that vessel, I posit that they will do the same for you, even in the absence of, well, the rest of me. It seemed worth a try at least. Agreed, we'll take good care of it. To the flagship then! I am carrying Graha blood. Oh joy. Oh, where are you, nerdlinger? There you are. Let us split up and search the flagship for the node that controls Tiamat's restraints. But should you find a likely candidate, do not attempt to make any adjustments. It would not do to accidentally release some manner of experimental monstrosity, nor less Tiamat herself in her current state. Our objective at this stage is to simply identify the relevant node or nodes. Once we have learned what we can, we should reconvene and compare notes prior to receding. Proceeding, sorry, not receding. Okay. Oh, they look like eggs. Data link with Delta Quadrant broken. Possible cause. Intruder interference. Advised deployment of automated combat units. Proceed. No, don't. Bzz. Friction between metallic components detected. Temperature increasing to critical levels. Please replace damaged parts to retreat to a safe distance. Bzz. Okay. Bye. Please found one. Ah, there you are. Blip bloop. Warning. Scheduled dragon restraint maintenance due in 2020 years. Failure to verify system integrity may result in unscheduled specimen release. Okay. Afraid Nistinian and I have little to show for our efforts. Did you find anything? Yes, I found 3 broken things. Probably the neglected dragon restraint ones. Spontaneously, you say? Well, that does sound promising. Almost suspiciously so, in fact. But then you were in possession of the spirit vessel. I dare say it is indeed the node of which Graha spoke. And it was chirruping, you say? Very well, let us take a close look. Do you wish to operate the dragon restraint mechanisms? Bleep bloop. You do not have to have the requisite access privileges. Operation of the dragon restraint mechanisms may only be undertaken by the chief technologist and member of the royal family. Damn. All those with a full vessel full of royal blood, perhaps. Blip. New user detected. Commencing biometric authentication. Blip. Authentication complete. User identified as member of the royal family. Please state your name. Am I gonna fuck this up? No, let's oh, I don't bloody know. Meh. Greetings. But that's just confusing. Amusing as you may find my name, I must ask you to use your real name, please. Oh. Bloop. Username changed. Welcome, Meowsy Moolsy. You may operate the dragon restraint mechanisms when ready. Oh! I wanted to impersonate. Bleep bloop. Error. Unable to disengage restraints from the specimen Tiamat. A system update is required. Of course it is. Bloody update. A system update? What do you suppose it is asking of us? I mean, logically, yes. Now that I do understand. You can go first. Oh, I love you, Estinian. User agitation detected. Initiating guidance program. Bloop. In order to operate the restraint mechanism, I require access to the central control system. However, I am unable to establish a link to said system due to the obsolescence of my own software. The issue can be resolved by applying a system update using the corresponding terminal located within the flagship. I wanted to smash it. So this thing can release the restraints or not? It can, but only once it has received the requisite system update, as far as I can tell. Until which time it'll float there spewing nonsense. User dissatisfaction detected. Initiating placation protocols. Bloop. I am here to help. Rest assured that I'll be on hand to guide you through every step of the system update process. How gratifying. But I dare say that we will fare better with guidance than without it. I still say we should smash it. Right. For vengeance. Bloop. Guiding user to terminal. This way, please. Okay. Can I smash it yet? Please. Oh, I'm wrong. Oh. Duh. Let's see. According to the terminal, the central control system is presently employing software version 56.135. Dare I ask which version you are employing? Why, software version 42.002, of course. Bleep bloop. Warning. Errors detected in the data management system. Estimated time required for update 5 years, 1 day. We should have smashed it. That is rather longer than we were hoping. Are there any other options? For instance, using the terminal to operate Tiamat's restraints instead? Bloop. The proposed method is indeed an option. Please be warned, however, that the procedure may have changed as a result of the system update, and my instructions may no longer be accurate. Well, I can't imagine how it will have changed all that much. Oh. Ye of little knowledge. As long as we pay due attention to any discrepancies, I dare say we should be able to muddle our way through. Don't bother trying to explain, just tell me if we've made any progress. I would say so, yes. It does, however, require that I remain here to operate the terminal. I shall inform you via link pearl once I'm ready to release the shackles. It might be best if you left the spirit vessel with me. I may yet have use for it. Rest assured I will be certain to return it to Grahatir once this is all over. Just a little more work and Tiamat will be free. But before we go any further, there is something I would know. When Tiamat and her kin fought against the Allagan Empire, both sides were but dancing to the tune of the Ascians. And it was the same in Ishgard, where they stoked the fires of conflict between man and dragon from the shadows. All the Ascians touch turns to ash, and thus have made it your mission to fight them. But there have been times when you tried to reach out to them instead to find common ground. And so I must ask, what do you intend to do with Fandaniel? Will you try and reach out to him too? I mean, I'd like to say that, but at the same time, this. But he did not tell you that he was beyond reason. If he wishes to die, I say we oblige him. I like the way he thinks. Well, perhaps that's the difference between you and me. I see the good in people, even if it be the faintest... Even if you see the good in people, even if it be the faintest glimmer. I only hope you do not come to rue your benevolence. No, I think like you, mate. Let's just slice him. Why not? Do you think us unwise for viewing the world thus? Far from it. That has ever been your way, and as I learned when we journeyed together with Iceheart. Yet the fact remains that there are some who view compassion as a weakness to be exploited, and there may come a time when you extend the hand of friendship only to wish you had dealt the killing blow. So, save your mercy for those who deserve it. Well, we should be getting back to our task. Arthur Noah has things in hand here. I suggest we rejoin the others. Goodbye, miniature nerd. For now. these guys not moved at all? For God's sake. Estinian told me all is well, but nothing more. Honestly, it's like getting blood out of a stone with him. I take it from Alphinaud's absence that he is indeed elsewhere. Well, that all sounds rather frustrating. You got there in the end. While you were off talking to Nodes, Raha and I were learning as much as we could about Tiamat's condition. Our readings confirmed that her ethereal balance leans strongly towards the umbral, as was the case with the kobolds. Therefore, all other things being equal, the treatment should work. Difficulty lies in the sheer quantity of ether in which we must contend. Multiple applications of the treatment will inevitably be required if we are able to reverse the effects of the tempering completely. Meanwhile, I'll need all the ether I can get. Thank you in advance. Although this endeavour will ask much of us, we do have one reason to be optimistic. Namely that Tiamat shows no signs of fanatical devotion, suggesting a milder case of tempering than that suffered by the kobolds. Tiamat saw Bahamut as an equal rather than a god. Might that have made a difference? Now that you mention it, it very well might. He might not have believed it necessary to differ to his will. But enough talk, it's time to put our theories to the proof. Tell Alphinaud to disengage to restrain ethereal dampeners. You're gonna make me fly all the way back up there just to do that? God damn it. I'm counting on you, Angelo. Go, little piggy! Ah, such warmth. The frost that shuddeth my soul doth begin to thaw. And what are these visions of days long forgotten, of war with the men and Alag? Wherefore do such baleful memories return to me now? Could it be that the process of restoring her soul to its pre-tempered state is awakening ancient memories? Or might the opposite be true? If so, by helping her to recall the past, we may be able to speed her recovery. Meowsy, she trusts you. She shouldn't. Speak to her. Ask her to tell you of times past. Well, she's remembering that, so why not? Wicked, bloodthirsty creatures, not content with their own lands, they brought fire and death to Mericidia, our home. The tale began when Bahamut and I left our father's side. We took wing in search of a place to make our eyrie. Beyond the Southern Ocean we discovered a lush and fertile land. It would come to be known as Mericidia by the children of men, though many years were to pass before they crossed the seas. Upon our arrival we were welcomed by a peaceful people of the forest, kin to the trees, surrounded by nature's bounty. Bahamut and I found a place to raise our young. Fascinating. This correlates with the writings of the Charlayan scholar Rurushka. Rurusha. Ugh. Words. He posits that man first settled in the southern continent towards the end of the Second Astral Era. Correctly, it would appear. If only she were with us to hear the tale from Tiamat herself. Again, Angelo. Go, Piggy! When first the children of man arrived at our shores, no foot did we set in those places over which we held dominion. Such was their fear of dragonkind, and as they kept their distance, so did we let them be. Yet as the days went by, ship after ship appeared upon the horizon, bearing ever more of their brethren, who divided the vast land amongst themselves. For a time they knew peace and prosperity, but as their numbers grew, the smaller their share came to seem, and soon they began to covet the territory of their fellows. Ere long man fought man, blood was answered with blood, and none could see an end to the strife, until one day they came for us. Recognizing our wisdom, they entreated us to intercede with their conflicts. Bahamut agreed, and with them presiding over the affairs of men, the land knew peace once more. Alas, those golden days of harmony, too, were fated to end. For the men of Aleg slew my beloved, and I, in my rage and sorrow, heeded the envenomed words of the Ascians. To rest, thou knowest only too well. But your tale doesn't have to end there. When you are free, we'll rid the world of the Ascians together, and you and your beloved will have justice. Fine sentiments, but you're almost spent. I'll keep watch from above. If the treatment fails, run. Ugh, thanks for the vote of confidence. I swear when this is over. Keep going, I say. The magic is working. Speak with her again. While I knew this wasn't going to be easy, no patient could have prepared me for treating a great worm. But we're close, I can feel it. And while I've only got a few more drops of ether left to give, with yours and Grahar's, this will work. Then I believe I speak for both of us when I say that you may take as much as you require. Hold on now. Careful, I might hold you to that. Alright, here I go. Go, Pigoo!
No! I'm almost there! This is it, Angelo!
Es ließ an.
won't know for certain until the shackles are removed. Many have been subjected to the Allagan's dark arts, their flesh irrevocably altered. For such tortured souls, I fear there can be no salvation.
Slosk an ol fol kail an. Slosk seth som in an. Afaten. Mon ud. Wan an. Lis an. Do ud an.
When that time comes, you won't be alone. We'll stand by you.
She's in an me.
Alphino's ready. It's time. Do it. And let's hope the treatment worked as it should.
Mahamud an Ul Jas. Ul Asa. Vesk an.
By the gods!
Urianger, your timing could not be better. Understood, we're on our way. It's Bahamut. He's been sighted over Pagalthan. He flies for the largest amount of settlement in the region, at the head of a vast host, including dragons.
Did you hear all that, Alphino? You'd best rejoin your comrades. I'll make my own way. Our enemy awaits. Shall we?
What an absolute lad. My planet needs me. While I'm sure you're desperate to join Estinian and Tiamat in battle, it would be wiser to gather the full strength of the Scions first. The foe we face demands no less. I agree. Ooh, I also agree with food. I'll take that. Flames of War. Luna Bahamut found in Pagalthan. Grahatir is determined to call upon the aid of your fellow Scions. Let us do it. I've already sent words to the others. We are to rendezvous in Uldar at the Hall of Flames. Let us collect Alpha now and be on our way. Oh, we're already here. Okay. No travelling. Hello. Now, I know some of you could do with the rest, but I'm sorry to say the Telophoroi have other plans. Paglothan is already under siege. Happily, the Immortal Flames arrived just in time to join the defensive effort, with Marshal Terrapin at their head. Well now, given the failure of the peace negotiations, I was uncertain how the Sultanate would respond. It is good to hear that Uldar has not abandoned the Amalja. Abandon them? Did we not profess to be your friends? Oh lord, here they come. Your Grace. Marshal Terrapin had made provisions for such an exigency? Yeah. And was ready to depart at a moment's notice. All that was required was the agreement of the Syndicate, each of whom voted in favour of intervention. Nor is Uldar alone in its resolve. The other alliance nations have likewise dispatched their troops to Paglothan. Yet even with our combined strength we shall be sorely tested, for we face not only the might of the Imperial Legion, but Lunar Bahamut and his draconic horde besides. Tiamat's children. Fight as we may, victory is by no means assured, but not all of the omens are grim. Our forces report that despite the proximity to Lunar Bahamut, none of the Amalja show any signs of tempering. Strange, but Primal would turn down a chance to claim new thralls. Unless it is incapable of doing so. Primals are not wont to serve a master, Ascian or otherwise. It may well be that Lunar Bahamut differs in some fundamental manner from those that we have previously encountered. If that were true, anyone could fight him, and Meowsy and others like him would have to shudder the burden alone. Wouldn't have to shudder the burden alone. Be that as it may, Lunar Bahamut remains an incalculably powerful foe, whom our soldiers will struggle to best through mere force of arms. With the aid of the Scions, however, I believe we will fare rather better, assuming, that is, you are ready to take the field. An airship awaits to bear you to the front. Pray set forth as soon as you are able. Come, group of nerds, we have something to slay. I, meanwhile, shall continue to coordinate our forces. Till we meet again, may the 12 bless and keep you. Bye, we nerds. It was kind of her to speak with us personally. You may be certain she has no shortage of other responsibilities. Well, I for one am inclined to do as her grace requests. Lest we forget, Arenvald and Fordola are in Paglothan on reconnaissance. The sooner we save the day, the better their chances. Indeed! To the airship then. Oh, the shrine's still going off, I see. It's a lovely thing to witness in any game when anything like that happens. Right, where are we going? Oh god, it's this bloody city. I can never find my way around this. I want to go... Goldsmith's Guild. I think. Oh no, I was in the right place, wasn't I? Oh god. No, I wasn't in the right place. I don't like this city. I can never find my way around it. Where am I going? Wait a minute. Do I have to go up to Chamber of Rule? Let's go with yes and see where we go. Chamber of Rule. Ah, here we go. I can never remember how to get to here. Airship? I think? Aha! Greetings, nerds! I found my way eventually. Greetings! We have been expecting you. I know, I got lost. But say the word, and we shall depart for Pagelfarn at once. Ooh! Ah, it's a dungeon. Cool. Right. Let's find some nerdlingers to do it with. Join. Could bring along some NPCs, but let's go through as a group, why not? If it takes way too long, I'll take some NPCs with me. I'd rather play with other people. Oh, there we go. So if it's part of a latest MSQ, it shouldn't take ridiculously long. We're here. And so are those two.
What took you so long? The Amalja are in trouble. Let's split up. Oh, no, you don't.
Antal an in Aisto. Antal afa. Snalask en. Ash an. Dran mira.
Noble warriors, the dragons chose their friends well. Long have our peoples waged war, but no more. Your fallen lie beside our own. By our words and deeds shall we honor their sacrifice. The enemy of our enemy is our friend. And you have proven yourselves worthy of our trust. It is the Garleans who are deserving of our fury. I shall see that my brethren learn the truth of this day, and rally as many as possible to the cause, till we meet again.
And thus did we make allies of the Amalja.
It would certainly seem that way. The Sultana will be pleased. Let's go and give her the good news, shall we?
What in Ralga's name happened here?
The gods only know. But you can bet these poor sods aren't here by choice.
Quickly! We've got to get them free!
Get back!
No! What have I done?
It's too late for them! We're leaving, now!
No! No! Don't you dare! We came together and we're leaving together!
Well then. That just happened. I've got to admit, I thought Luna the Hammer would have a bigger part to play than that. That was a bit short. Oh well. While it would be too much to hope that we have seen the last of Fandaniel, we have dealt his schemes a telling blow this day, and that alone is cause to celebrate. And celebrate I will, when I have received word of Arenvald's safe return. Ooh, freebies! Give. I mean, now into this. Oh yeah, of course, you've got to go through a players before you can get NPCs. Oh well, I knew that. Ah. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Alvino is minded to share his account of the events that unfolded in Paglfan with the Sultana. Okay. Oh, it's me talking. Standing around here worrying is not going to help matters. Come, we must discuss the day's events with Pippin and her grace. Brave scions. Would that I could retreat you to a hero's welcome, but I bear urgent news from the frontistery. Your grace, whatever is the matter. As our troops withdraw from Paglfan, they came upon 2 scouts sent to the nearby tower. I've yet to hear a full account, but it seems that one of them, your friend, I believe had been wounded, and was being dragged away by the other. Oh no. I must go. Forgive me, your grace. Can you tell us aught of Ardenveld's condition, your grace? The wounded scout? Not save that it is grave. Ugh, the Chirigians tend to him even as we speak. The infirmary must be inundated with the wounded. If all of us go, we'll only get underfoot. Miazi Estinian, would you mind going after Alfanad? You may need support from someone other than me. Very well. Thank you. The rest of us will see that the relevant people know what took place in Paglfan. Come on then. Oh god, I've got to get back out of here. Yes. Oh no, no, I've gone the wrong way. Ah, yes. I mean, going the wrong way in here is kind of a no-brainer for me now. That way. Another one come to see your lad in silver armour? Master Deliot is attending to him as we speak, if you would be so kind as to wait. What did Master Deliot say? Tell me his exact words. Let them do their work. But, you're right, forgive me. When we said our farewells to Ironveld, I was afraid that something like this might happen. But now that it has, all we can do is wait.
Fordola, have you been waiting here all this time?
We have done what we can. The rest is up to him.
May we see him?
I do not think that wise. You must let him sleep.
Thank you for bringing him back. He owes you his life. I just wish I had been there. Perhaps, I don't know, perhaps I could have...
Could have what? Got tempered? Don't flatter yourself. You can't save everyone. No one can. Not even the warrior of bloody light. People die all the time, for no good reason. And those who take up the sword die quicker than most. If you're going to shed a tear every time a soldier falls on the battlefield, you'd best stay away. It's no place for the weak of heart.
It may be that victory cannot be won without cost. But all life is precious, and I refuse to shrug at its loss.
All life is precious! Oh, you need to grow up, little man. Before your sparkling ideals get everyone killed.
You're right. He is idealistic. But the world has more than its fair share of realists, like you and me. It's people like him who dare to dream that things could be better, and make it happen against all the odds. They are the ones whose names live on forever. The heroes.
The battlefield's littered with would-be heroes. At this rate, you'll lot will be next. And what'll become of your precious dreams then? They'll be gone. Like dust on the wind.
Dreams worth fighting for don't die so easily.
I know, I know. There is nothing more I can do here. Come, let us rejoin the others. Ahem. Her Grace invites the Scions of the Seventh Dawn to join her in the Fragrant Chamber. Your comrades have already arrived. Will the three of you be joining them? We will.
Your Grace, pray forgive us our lateness.
Think not of that. I understand a close comrade of yours was wounded in the line of duty. Arenvold. It was at the Alliance's behest that he risked all, and we are grieved to hear of his condition. Rest assured, he will receive the finest care our chirurgeons can provide. On that you have my word. Now, we would share with you the findings of the mission. Pippin, pray relate to our guests the details of Fordola's account.
First Bahamut, now Ifrit. Or Lunar Ifrit, as Fandaniel would doubtless have it.
'Tis now all but certain that the towers were conceived to facilitate the summoning of primals by those imprisoned within. Less certain is the means by which the Telophoroi constrain the wills of said entities to enact their designs in defiance of the pleas of their victims.
Mayhap they do not. If mere proximity to the towers is enough to make loyal servants of the Empire's mortal enemies, it stands to reason that the same is true for those held captive. They invoke their gods for the good of Garlemald, and in their disturbed state of mind, summon a primal whose form reflects their own alteration.
It all begins to make sense. Upon closer inspection, I realized that the towers bear a striking resemblance to a much larger structure which Urianger and I observed from afar during our visit to the Imperial capital. Assuming it too is capable of tempering those in its immediate vicinity, it would go some way to explain the swiftness with which the Telophoroi managed to rally so many Imperials to their cause.
While the situation in Garlemald is indeed troubling, I fear we have more immediate concerns. Ifrit was not the only primal summoned. At approximately the same time, observers at several other towers bore witness to the emergence of further such entities. For a blessing, none appear to wield aught approaching the destructive power of Bahamut, and the Grand Companies are moving to deal with the threat even as we speak. Though we are aware that the task will not be easy, we would call upon the Scions only as a last resort. Pray, conserve your strength for now. After all, it was not so very long ago that you rid us of Bahamut. On which note, I am pleased to report that our talks with the Amalja have reached an agreeable conclusion. They have pledged their full support to our cause. It is our hope that this historic agreement will encourage other tribes to join us at the negotiating table. And I know that I speak for all of the Allied leaders when I say that we will welcome them with open arms at such time as they do. course, this was only made possible by the feats of heroism performed at Paglafan. Moreover, we shall not allow the sacrifices of those fallen in battle to have been made in vain. As hope leads to victory, shall victory lead to a new dawn for Eorzea.
May these words ever be our guide, Your Grace.
Now, if you will forgive me, I must consult with the Syndicate on the matter of our new allies' integration. Till next we meet, my friends, I bid you safe travels and blessed respite.
More entities detected at the towers. I wonder if they've just got... if all the primals came out then. Interesting. Right then. Unless anyone has any objections, I think it's about time we return to the Rising Stones. That includes you, Alphinaud. Arnvold is in good hands here. Of course. He would doubtless mock me for pacing about the infirmary. Let us retire then, that we might regain our strength in readiness for the coming challenges. If all are in agreement then, I shall let Krill know to expect us. A hot bath and a hearty meal should suddenly be beyond arranging with the time available. It'll be good to be home. I have some thinking to do. Yes, I'll try asking him. And thank you. I shall look forward to it. Our comrades eagerly await us our return, and Krill, in particular, has a few matters she is keen to discuss. One of which concerns you, Estinian. Believe it or not, you will join us, won't you? Fine. Man of many words. Really? I thought you said you were avoiding that Baldosian woman. If I refused, she would only pursue me. Let's get this over with, shall we? Ah, my boy's joining us. Good lad. Turn to the Rising Stones. This place. They need a new place. A bigger place. That's not called Rising Stones. Just somewhere different. I didn't put that back on. Oh, take it back off.
Welcome back. I expect you must all be exhausted. Ere you take your rest, however, I would beg a moment of your time. Thanks to Arnvold's selfless efforts, we may now be confident that we understand the function of the towers. But many questions remain regarding the reason for the summonings, and what lurks behind the looming edifice in Garlemald. Until such questions are answered, we will struggle to devise an effective strategy for thwarting the Telophoroi's stated aim. Nothing less than the destruction of this star. And so, given the gravity of the situation, I move that we petition the aid of Sharlayan.
'Tis possible the ancient knowledge preserved within our archives may hide a clue to our enemy's methods. But given Sharlayan's established policy of non-intervention, our former colleagues are not like to aid us in its discovery.
Oh, I well remember what they're like. The Forum's barefaced refusal to assist you in the days prior to the calamity must rank as Sharlayan's most shameful act since the Exodus. But were the final days to be reenacted, it would spell doom for us all. Surely even they cannot turn a blind eye to that. I trust we are all of the same mind on this matter. Urgent as it seemed, I took the liberty of petitioning the Alliance for leave to act as Eorzea's emissary, and have since received their blessing.
I presume your role as a student of Baldessian will carry some weight with the Forum?
One can but hope. If truth be told, our organization has been a shadow of its former self ever since the disappearance of the Isle of Val. But the name does still retain some degree of prestige. I only pray it will be enough. If there are no objections, I shall depart for Sharlayan at once. But before I do, I should also mention the other matter to which I would devote some time during my stay. After hearing what transpired in the first, I began to question the true nature of Hydaelyn's blessing. A topic I have discussed at some length with Y'shtola.
We were wondering, when was the last time Hydaelyn spoke to you directly? When Elidibus sought to make warriors of light. That was the voice which calls constantly to all who might hear it. I spoke of direct communication, when Hydaelyn communed solely with you. A far rarer occurrence.
History shows us that Hydaelyn is able to awaken the echo in her chosen, convey her will directly, and grant the blessing of light. To our knowledge, however, she has not sought to intervene in man's affairs for some considerable time.
Might not the explanation for that lie with her choice of champion? Mayhap she is content to trust in his judgment.
Mayhap she is. But following my initial discussion with Kryl, I made inquiries of my own. And as far as I am able to tell, Hydaelyn has not made her will known to anyone.
During my time in the First, the Oracle of Light spoke to me through Reem. But that was not the will of Hydaelyn. It was Minfilia herself.
Indeed. And while she and Hydaelyn were inextricably linked, Minfilia yet acted of her own volition. A messenger, yes, but one who spoke with her own voice.
I wonder, could Hydaelyn's silence suggest the presence of some disruptive force, perhaps? Some obstacle to communication? While I share Urianger's high opinion of your conduct, I see no reason why she would deny you her guidance altogether. Then again, who am I to say? The fact is, we simply don't know. But if the explanation is to be found anywhere, I can think of worse places to look than the archives of Sharlayan, and their research on the Ethereal Sea in particular. Resolved though I am to go, believe me when I say that I take no pleasure in the thought of leaving you a member short. Now of all times. Estinian, we stand on the eve of a struggle that will decide the fate of this star. one in which we Scions may play a telling part, yet we are but few in number. And so I must ask you again, will you join us?
You see the world the way you want it to be. I see the world the way it is. You are idealistic to a fault. But I know you would never turn your back on those in need. Never close your eyes to their suffering. And somehow, your deeds lend truth to your words, giving the lie to my doubts in so doing. I have seen others draw strength from your belief. In Ishgard, in Alamigo, you inspired them to stand up and fight. To win, no less. And even when you lost those you held dear, you carried their spirit with you and made their memory your guiding light. The burden of so many hopes and dreams would be too heavy for most to bear. But you bear it willingly, as you have shown me. Some dreams are too important to let go. If you have need of my strength, it's yours. After all you've done, how could I refuse?
Thank you, Estinian. Whatever challenges await us, I shall not falter. You have my word.
And now, I may bid you farewell. Safe in the knowledge that all is as it should be. In this little corner of the world, at least.
You will be sorely missed. Tread warily in Sharlayan, and do try not to let the Forum embroil you in their politics. A forlorn hope, I know, given the individuals involved.
I shall do my very best. Farewell.
Well, does this one meet with your approval? Apparently not. Or could it be that you're still upset about the dragons?
You are unwise to remind me of so costly a failure. It will not affect our plans, I trust.
Oh, hardly at all. Though, admittedly, the chances of us being able to procure any more Mericidian dragons are rather slimmer following Tiamat's reappearance. Oh, but the seeds have been sown, my lord. We have only to wait for them to quicken. Speaking of preparations, is it safe to assume that you will be ready to control you-know-what?
The hour draws nigh. This nation, forged for Ascian ends, will finally prove its worth.
A mighty empire, now no more than an instrument of this star's destruction. What a pleasure it will be to put it to use. Which brings me back to our earlier topic. My lord, while I appreciate that it is not an easy decision, it really is past time you chose your weapon.
There is one that I have been meaning to test.
Well, well, not quite what I was expecting, though I will say, it does seem rather apt.
Well, it looks like I'm going to have a busy few moons. Now that they ever seem to be anything but. Thancred's got me dispatching troops to every corner of the realm, which is not to say I don't trust the Alliance, because I do, but when it comes to putting down primals, nobody does it better than us. Well, than you lot, more accurately. I'm going to say, you don't really do it. You won't catch me trading blows with a primal in the near future. But for every fell fiend you vanquish, there's countless meals to arrange, baths to fill, sheets to wash, stores to replenish, and the list goes on. Which is where I come in. And gladly mind you. It's the least I can do to support the scions who risk life and limb, like poor Arenvald. I wish there was something we could do for him. But we'll just have to settle for saying the odd prayer and keeping a roof over our heads. It wouldn't do to have him come back to a complete shambles now, would it? But that's enough of my rambling. Off you go and get some rest. If there are any developments, I promise you, you'll be the first to know. Not for naught. Well then. That's the end of 5.5 MSQ. We went and dealt with... Oh, we went to one of... Not quite to one of the towers, but we dealt with Luna Bahamut. Luna Ifrit seems to have arrived, and there's word of more, so... Maybe the next part will be fighting multiple primals in Luna form? That might be quite cool. That'd be quite cool indeed. Right then. Well, that's all for now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much for watching. I might do more of this in the future. We'll see how it goes. I've quite enjoyed doing that, so... Yeah, it might be a thing I do more in the future. Well, at least between now and Walker. We'll see how it goes. But thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, feel free to follow the channel. If you go below the video, you'll also find a link to my YouTube channel. If you're already watching this on YouTube, thank you very much for sticking to the end of this. Feel free to subscribe. It's not very often I do stream, but when I do... You'll find me over at Twitch. There's a link in the YouTube banner, in my About page, and there will be one in the description of this video. Thank you very much once again, ladies and gentlemen, for watching, and I'll see you next time.